So, our first segment of this episode is our stock pick of the week, where we look at a stock that's been performing really well or in an odd way and talk about it. So, the stock for this week is SOFI. SOFI is an online personal finance company started by Stanford students in 2011, and they started with student financing. But now they've grown and offer a huge suite of products from investments to student loans to credit cards to all types of insurance. And they differ from a normal bank in two key ways. First, they're completely online. And second, there's personalization with their platform through artificial intelligence. So they have an app, and within the app, there's analysis and data and all this different stuff that's processed through an AI that helps you make better decisions with your money. And SoFi has been incredibly successful since they've given over $7 billion in loans to over 110,000 members within the 10 years that they've been operating.
So what's interesting about SoFi is that it went public through what is called a SPAC merger. And what a SPAC is it's basically short for a special purpose acquisition company. And that's essentially just a blank check company that's listed on the stock exchange with the hopes of acquiring a private company to take public onto the stock exchange. So what does it mean to go public in the first place?
So normally a company is private, so it's owned by a group of private investors. When a company transitions to a public company, it's accessible to everyday consumers. So it's listed on the New York Stock Exchange and people like me and you can go and invest it.
Exactly. And like I said, these SPACs are created with the purpose of acquiring a private company. And this differs from the traditional IPO, also short for initial public offering, where a private company goes public all by themselves. So think DoorDash and Airbnb in early 2021. These special purpose acquisition companies are essentially shell companies of bigger corporations, and these corporations just list their company on there, and they list it for a really cheap price, like $10 a share. And this stock is essentially on there until they find a company to merge with. And when they find a company to merge with, they basically announce it. And then once the merger happens, the private company assumes the role of that stock. So in SoFi's case, it was taken public through a SPAC backed by someone named Chamath Palihapitiya, a prominent Silicon Valley investor. His SPAC, Social Capital, ahead of SOFIA. Through this, once SoFi merged, it assumed the new stock ticker, and now SoFi is being traded on the stock exchange.
So like Vipul mentioned earlier, Social Capital was a company that listed their stock on the stock exchange at $10 a share. So Social Capital was a SPAC. And so once the SPAC merged with SoFi, the price jumped to $23 a share at its peak. And so currently it's lying around $16 a share. And so most SPACs normally in the past usually maintain a share price of around $10 a share, and once they become public and merge with the company, with the dilution of all these shares, the price of the stock normally drops down to around $7 or so. But this did not happen with SoFi. SoFi was backed by Chamath Palihapitiya and his company, and the reputation of that, along with the technology associated with SoFi, with its API, application program interface, which allows companies to integrate other technologies directly into their platform, and the use of AI to bring the best user experience and give the users all the types of finance charts and analysis that they would like to see, allowed SoFi to build a very reputable brand and have all the technology behind it to back it up. It had many great things going for it. And one of the key things that went for it was they marketed themselves as not a bank, but instead they focused on their members and giving them the best experience and through a seamless online banking.
So what's next for SoFi? SoFi is a really young company, and with a lot of cash from their SPAC merger, they hope to use it to fuel growth and expand the operations of SoFi into the premier personal finance platform. As for what Wall Street thinks about SoFi, the highest price target that they have for it is $30, with the lowest being only $25, and that averages out to $27.50. This is their forecast for the next 12 months, and if this gives us any indication, it shows that Wall Street also has high hopes for SoFi, and they expect it to grow pretty steadily over the next 12 months. So it'll be really interesting to see how SoFi grows and innovates even further throughout the years.